champions. Welcome back to Step Outside Your Comfort Zone, where we are focused on removing the obstacles that stand in your way. I have a great message I want to share with you. So if you're watching live, go ahead and type in the chat where you are watching from. What city are you watching from? City and state, city and state. What city and state are you watching from? If you're watching the replay, do me a huge personal favor and type hashtag replay. Hashtag replay. I'm Chris Gloss, certified ChangeWorks practitioner, and what we're going to talk about this evening is how to know when it's time to change. Very important conversation I want to have with you tonight. How to know when it's time to change. I have 7 indicators that I want to share with you on how to know when it's time to change, because I don't know about you, but there's been times in my life where I've just been going along, right? And thinking everything is okay, thinking and believing everything is right, and come to find out it wasn't. It wasn't right. Have you ever been in a relationship and you thinking this relationship is fantastic, there is nothing wrong with this relationship, this is a perfect relationship? Have a conversation with your significant other and find out you got real problems? Has that ever happened to you? Oh man, or like you working on a job, you think you're doing a stellar job, and next thing you know, they're giving you a pink slip, letting you know you gotta go. They didn't like you as much as you thought they did, right? How do you know when it's time to change? How do you know when it's time to do something different? I want to share 7 indicators with you. And these 7 indicators should help you with understanding the atmosphere that you're in and if it's time to change. So stay tuned to the end, catch all 7, and I have a special invitation for you at the end of the presentation that I just believe you're going to love. Right? Good to see you, Champion Harry Jameson, Newport News, Virginia. Had an awesome time watching Harry's 100 live streams. Somebody that's stepping outside of his comfort zone, doing amazing things. And Harry, I'm wondering if you're going to be able to relate to some of the things that I'm going to talk about, because your live cast, just your live broadcast not too long ago, was absolutely fantastic. So, man, I'm glad you take the time to come join and hang out over here. So, everybody else, good to see you, good to see you. Let's dive into how to know when it's time for change. Number 1, when you're focused on the little things. Whenever you start to focus on the little things, trust me on this, it's time to change. You need to do something different. If you're so focused, paying attention on all this little nitpicky stuff, it's like you are majoring on the minors. Everything irritates you. The way your significant other breathes. You like, look here now. I hate the sound of the way somebody breathes. Why do you always have to leave the refrigerator open? Why do you leave that much juice left, right? Every little thing bothers you. It's time to change. It's time to do something different, because the danger side of this, if you see the signs, if you see the indicators of change and you refuse to change, oh, it's going to eat you up on the inside. It's damaging you more than anybody else. Haven't you ever noticed that about change, how other people just simply move on and you're still the one wrestling with the turmoil in your mind, in your brain? It's bothering you, it's eating you alive, and the other person seems to go on with their life? Yeah. See, when you start focusing just on those little things and you're not even looking at big picture anymore, you're not even paying attention to what does this really matter, right? At the end of the day, does this really matter to me, right? And you got to say, no, it doesn't. It's not that big of a deal, right? Turning little molehills into mountains, it's not that big of a deal. You got to learn how to let some of those things go. Put that in your notes. Let things go. Because if you don't let things go, that stress is going to compound on your life, and you're going to live an unhealthy life. So let those things go. Number 1, you're focused on the little things. Number 2, jealousy is hitting you hard. Jealousy is hitting you hard. You know what jealousy is? Jealousy is like believing God took your blessing and sent it to the wrong address. Let me say that again. You may need to text that to somebody. Jealousy is like you believing that God took your blessing and sent it to the wrong address. You're jealous about somebody else's life, right? It's just like jealousy and envy, right? You know how envy operates. Envy is like, I don't want a car like yours. I want your car. I don't want a wife like yours. I want your wife, right? Or a husband, however it works out for you, right? That's envy. So these things are twin thieves that will erode you on the inside. When you start feeling jealous about somebody else or jealous about some other situation, it's an indicator that you need to change. Why? Because if you stay where you are, if you remain the same, if you stay inside that comfort zone, it will consume you. It will eat your life away. You'll be frustrated and mad for no other reason. You can't even figure out why you're mad. Have you ever been so mad? Type yes or no in the chat. Have you ever been so mad at somebody and a little bit of time went by and you couldn't even remember why you're mad at them? Yeah, it messes with your mindset. You become starting to get crazy up in here. You don't even know why you're mad anymore. That's an indicator. It's time for you to change. It's time for you to do something different. I don't know what that looks like for you. All I know is I know what it looks like for me. I know I have to get out of that situation. I refuse to allow those situations to just continue to tear me down and wear me out. Trust me, if it wears you out and takes you off the planet, they ain't gonna care about you. No, they're gonna go on with their life. So you gotta recognize what those things are and get out of the way. Recognize what those things are and get out of the way. So the first two indicators, knowing when it's time for you to make a change, number one was you're focusing on the little things. Whenever you're focusing on the little things, it's time to make a change. Number two is when jealousy is hitting you hard. When you believe that God delivered your blessing to the wrong address, right? You focused on everybody else's stuff instead of what you have. It's time to do something different. Number three, the third indicator that you need to make a change is you're living in the past. You're living in the past. I mean, think about this for a moment. It's like you look at your life and only can think about all the regrets, all the things that you didn't do, all the things I wish I could have, would have. You're living in the past. You're so focused behind you, you can't even see what's ahead of you, right? The past is in the past for a reason. You cannot unscramble those eggs. That is done. There's nothing else you can do about that. Those eggs you cannot put those things back together again. Humpty Dumpty done fell, and you ain't no crazy glue, you're going to put them back together again. You're going to have to learn how to walk away from your past. You cannot park. You cannot afford to park now. You cannot park your dream. You cannot park your goal. You cannot park the expectations that you have for your life and the life of your family members and your children. This is the wrong time to park. You do not want to park during a pandemic. Somebody put that in the chat for me. Do not park during a pandemic. To live in the past is unhealthy. You're destroying every part of your body, physically, mentally, spiritually. Living in the past will take you out. That's the third indicator. When you're living in the past, you know it's time to change. It's time to pivot. It's time to do something different. You got to pay attention to these indicators. Think about it like an EKG, right? Going up and down. And you don't want a flat line. If you don't change, that EKG is headed to take you out. It's time to make a change. It's time to pivot. Wherever you are right now, make the decision. Say, hey, this ends today. Matter of fact, I want you to put this in your notes and I want you to type it in the chat. It's time to say enough. Nothing changes until someone says enough. You will not change until you say enough. I'm sick and tired of this crap that I've been getting my whole life. Enough. Once you say enough of this, change happens. Because you're fed up. You're tired. You ain't taking it anymore. So when you say you fed up, you're tired of living that past, you're done. That's number 3. The third indicator for how you know when it's time to change is when you recognize you're living in your past. Number 4. Now this is going to hurt a couple of people. So before I go over number 4, here's what I want you to do. I want you to share this with somebody. Hit that like button. Share this with somebody that you know is stuck. You know they're stuck where they are and they need to do something different. Take a moment. Share it with somebody because they need to get out of where they are. It's time to make for a pivot. And I believe one of these 7 strategies or one of these 7 indicators is going to help them identify where they are so now they can take this definitive action to get from there. Number 4, your habits are unhealthy. Now let me read off a couple of unhealthy habits to you and see if I can locate where you are or not where you are. Maybe somebody you know. Somebody you know may have these unhealthy habits, and if they have these unhealthy habits, they need to make a change. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Type yes in the chat if it makes sense to you. The first unhealthy habit, drinking regularly to forget your stress or life problem. When you're drinking to numb yourself, it's time to change. It's time to change because the numbing is going to wear off and then you're going to have to drink again. It's going to wear off, you're going to have to drink again. It's going to wear off, you're going to have to drink again. And sooner or later, your liver is going to give out on you. Your organs are going to give out on you. If you're drinking to numb yourself, it's time to make a change. It's an indicator. It's time to change. If you're eating unhealthy foods, if you're continually to eat things that are not healthy, your body cannot use it, it's time to make a change. If you are avoiding the gym, ouch! If you are avoiding the gym, it's time to make a change because you're going to have to get your body moving so you have the energy necessary to live. If you're isolating yourself away from friends and family, if you're isolating yourself away from friends and family because you don't want to hear about their amazing lives compared to yours, if you find yourself in a place you don't want to hear about someone else's joy, oh my God, it's time to change. That means there's something in you that is rotting on the inside of you. Remember we talked about this in 2 videos ago? Garbage in, garbage. That's right. Most people say garbage out. That's not true. Garbage in, garbage stays in there. And it stinks. Yeah, it smells. Stinking thinking. Right? If you find yourself, you can't get happy over the success of someone else or their joy, it's time to change. When you're watching too much TV to escape your own reality, or if you're stressing about small things, it's time to change. It's time to make a move. It's time to do something different. Number 5, 2 more left after this. Number 5, you experience Sunday scaries. Now, you may not have heard of this before. This might be a new term for you. If you're experiencing Sunday scaries, that's when on Sunday you are so afraid of the upcoming week. You're so fearful. Oh my God, what's going to happen this week? Oh my God, this is just going to fall apart this week. This is going to be absolutely hell this week. It's time to change. If you're so scared that you can't enjoy the present moment, you can't enjoy this day. I remember my pastor was talking about, you know how from time to time you could experience hard times, right? If you ever experienced hard times before and they were going to cut your lights off, he said, look, light a candle. What can you do about that? If you ain't got the finances to get that thing turned back on, light a candle. Call it a romantic evening. Say, hey, baby, this is a date night tonight. We ain't got no electricity. It's time for a romance, right? It's time to light the candles up in here because you can't do anything about it. You can't be scared about things that have not even happened yet, right? Don't even project that into your week. Avoid projecting things into your week. So if it's Sunday, do not get the Sunday scaries about what's going to happen. Do not get nervous about what's going to happen. Stay in faith. Stay in faith. Put this in your notes. Somebody put this in the chat for me. Faith is an oil that takes the friction out of living. Let me say that again. Matter of fact, I got to rewind that. Hold up. Faith is an oil that takes the friction out of living. When you operate in faith, you may be scared. You might cry. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. Something about just believing, hoping something good is going to happen to me. In the midst of all the turmoil, just believing that something good is going to happen to me. Just having the faith to know that this too shall pass, knowing that this pain I'm experiencing is going to leave. Believing that, holding on to that faith, it's an oil that takes the friction out of living. I'm telling you what I know, not what I heard. I'm telling you what I know, not what I heard. That's what it is. I think my video froze, but I am going to continue to talk through this. Number 6, if you are tired all of the time, let me know in the chat if you can still hear me. My video may be frozen, but let me know if you can still hear me. Let me get a yes. You can still hear me in the chat. I ain't worried about the video. I'm just going to keep talking. So, if you're tired all the time and you just don't have the energy to get things done that you need to get done, it's time to change. It's time to pivot. Because you got to get out of the space of where you are. Where you are is not where you want to be. And if you are tired all of the time, it's time for you to make a change. If you're not producing the results that you want, there may be a deeper rooted problem. Maybe everything else is getting to you. You need to just keep going. It's a sign that you need to change if you are tired all the time. Energy is something that we naturally produce, and when we're not producing it, something's wrong. That means you need to change, because if you keep on going down the path you're going, you might not be here very long. It's time to change. Number 7, your life feels like a movie, like a boring one. If your life feels like a boring one, it's time to change. There is a massive difference between a movie like a life full of energy, and a dull movie. There's a big difference in that. You got to ask yourself, what is my life? What is my life like? Is this something that I want to watch until the end? Or would you get up and walk out of that movie theater? Would you get up and walk out of that movie theater? It's an indicator knowing you need to change. When you don't like how this movie is turning out, it's time to get up and walk out of this movie theater, because you are just going to destroy your life, and you're going to live in a space of being unhappy for a long time, and that's not worth it. That is not worth it, living in that space for a long time in front of a boring movie. If you will walk out of a boring movie, it's time to change your life and make it more exciting. Make a radical difference in your life. Now, so let's review all 7 indicators. Number 1 was if you're focusing on little things, if you're majoring on the minor stuff, it's time to change. If jealousy is hitting hard, if you are believing that God sent your blessings to the wrong address, it's time to change. If you're living in the past, wishing you were back there back in the day, and you looking back with regrets, it's time to change. If your habits are unhealthy, it's time to change. If you experience the Sunday scaries, scared about the upcoming week, nervous energy about it, it's time to change. And if you're tired all the time, you don't have the energy to get through your day, it's time to change and doing something different. If your life feels like a movie, like a boring movie, it's time to change. It's time to do something different. Well, everybody, here's my special invitation for you. If you know that your life, you know it's time for you to make a change, I want you to accept my invitation to take a free personal readiness assessment. You can see the link on the screen right underneath the title, How to Know It's Time to Change. I want you tonight to go to sockz.me/PRA. I want you to take that personal readiness assessment because we are about to do a session where we're going to review it with all the people who have taken this to help you with being ready to thrive and not just survive during challenging times. This has been Chris Gloss. I am so glad you took the time to hang out with me. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you over in the next video. Thank you, everybody who was watching live. Thank you for your participation and your engagement in the chat. And thank you all on the replay for putting #replay and putting your comments in there as well. I look forward to seeing you over in